Hello, and congratulations to the Arms Control Association for celebrating its 50th anniversary. It's a milestone that's well deserving of celebration, and I wish I were there in person to take part. The ACA has been a source of information and network for me since I was a young scholar working on issues of arms control, disarmament, and nonproliferation. I was especially honored to receive the 2020 Arms Control Persons of the Year Award along with the organization I founded, Women of Color Advancing Peace, Security, and Conflict Transformation, in recognition of my efforts to diversify the voices heard and expertise in the areas of peace and security. I also had the pleasure of funding the great work of ACA back when I was a program officer of the Ford Foundation and later serving on the ACA board. It has always been a pleasure. I am so very glad to see the ACA continue to be a leading organization focused on arms control, nonproliferation, and disarmament, which are all areas I continue to have a strong commitment to. I know you will continue to impact the future of peace and security for another 50 years. Once again, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the ACA, its leadership, and best wishes on your forward journey.
Greetings to everyone attending the 2022 Arms Control Association Members Conference. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley here. And over the past few hours, you've all heard from experts and leaders about the state of the world today and the powerful need for nuclear arms control, more urgent now than it has been in a long time. So thank you all for being a part of this conversation, which is so critical to the future of our planet. Years ago, decades ago, I worked at the Pentagon and at Capitol Hill in nuclear arms control policy. And I chose that line of work because I felt that the threat of nuclear war was the greatest threat facing humankind. It was possible that escalation of a conventional conflict or a misperception could lead to a missile launch, and it would have the potential to bring about unimaginable global destruction. I thought about what President Kennedy said to the United Nations in 1961. He said, "Every man, woman, and child lives under a nuclear sword of Damocles, hanging by the slenderest of threads, capable of being cut at any moment by accident or miscalculation or by madness." Thanks to the work of so many over many years, leaders and organizations like the Arms Control Association, we came to a point where it no longer felt like that sword was over our heads. It felt like we were on a path towards reducing the number and threat of the weapons of mass destruction. Yet here we are in the year 2022, and it feels like that sword of Damocles is back. Here are some of my thoughts. One, Russia is carrying out an unprovoked illegal war in Ukraine, and that's changed the context of the risk of nuclear weapons. Back in March, Vladimir Putin raised the possibility of using nuclear weapons when he ordered his country's nuclear deterrent forces to be put in a heightened alert state, a move I strongly condemned with the other co-chairs of the Nuclear Weapons and Arms Control Working Group, because it threatened to escalate an already perilous situation. More recently, the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, warned the Senate Armed Services Committee it was possible that President Putin might consider using nuclear weapons if he thinks he's about to lose the conventional war. Think how things had come so far since January, because in January, Putin joined other leaders of nuclear armed states in saying, quote, "A nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought." Meanwhile, China is growing and evolving its own nuclear arsenal. It's estimated that they have more than 200 warheads today, but could have as many as 1,000 by the end of the decade. They're building several hundred new silos, missile silos in the Northwest. They're investing in systems like road mobile ICBMs and better submarine launched ballistic missiles. They tested a hypersonic glide vehicle last year. And then there's North Korea, which has continued to pursue its weapons program, launching at least 16 missile tests so far this year, including their first long-range ballistic missile since 2017. There's also the potential of other nations joining the community of nuclear-armed nations. Certainly, we have to pay a lot of attention to the Middle East, where both Iran and Saudi Arabia have the potential to develop materials to produce nuclear warheads. So we find ourselves again in the middle of a tense and frightening moment in world history. A moment rife with dangers that could end in unspeakable horror through accident or by miscalculation, or by madness. Fortunately, not all is doom and gloom. Not all hope is lost for us to move back from the nuclear brink. Take, for instance, one of President Biden's first accomplishments in office, negotiating and finalizing a 5-year extension of the New START treaty with Russia. And Putin's war crimes have solidified and united the world against him, potentially leading to the thing he feared most, a unified, reinvigorated, and expanding NATO acting as a stronger deterrent against the use of nuclear arms. And the Biden administration is working hard to restore the JCPOA. When President Trump pulled us out of the JCPOA, it, decreased the amount of time in which Iran could put together the nuclear materials to make a bomb. It made the risk greater. Hopefully, restoration of the agreement can reduce that risk. And to accomplish that, we need Russia's cooperation. Of course, that's difficult in the current moment, but President Biden is doing all he can to get to that goal. And I applaud his administration for pursuing the negotiation. We also need to work with Russia to negotiate a follow-on to the 5-year extension of START. After all, how can we ask other nations to forgo their nuclear ambitions if the United States and Russia are hell-bent on new deployments? We also need to work with China to establish communication and dialogue, to build confidence-building measures so we can minimize the risk of misunderstandings and misinterpretations. Collectively, we can walk ourselves back from the brink of nuclear disaster. Collectively, we can reduce that risk to humanity. But it's going to take all of us, leaders and policymakers in government, working alongside advocates and organizations like the Arms Control Association, to find and create practical solutions to these challenges. This is a scary moment in history, but with your help and your advocacy, we can move towards better days. We've done it before, and we can and will do it again. Thank you.